a very special episode of Arabesque where we are uncovering for you the Shubbak Festival 2013. 16 countries are represented in 15 days. It's a Mid-Eastern feast of arts, culture and theater life. And we have the highlights for you.
We're taking you to the highlights of the amazing Shubbak Festival in London. Shubbak means window, and the festival is simply that, a window to the Arab world, with the chance for people to hear, see, and engage in the Middle East and North African communities and events of London. From trying your hand out at an Arabic instrument, to seeing fine art from promising young artists, to listening to Arab music in a way you've never heard it before, this festival is filled with new insight and inspiration. We're going to take you to the Young Artist of the Year Awards, a concert with an exciting and extremely diverse UK band that plays a fusion of music you probably haven't encountered before. But first up, here's the excellent art of storytelling in the form of the play Kan Ya Makan.
When I was a child, one of my favorite moments was when my mom told me stories at bedtime. As part of the Shubbak Festival 2013, we have come to the Cockpit Theatre, where we will get to see and speak with some of the most excellent storytellers. Commissioned especially for the Shubbak Festival, the play Kan Ya Makan was developed by Oasis Theatre Group, the London-based group formed by Arab actors in London, and was written by award-winning actors and storytellers Alia Al-Zubi and Amar Ahmad. How did the Lebanese storyteller Alia and the Syrian actor Amar meet, and what inspired them to tell this particular story?
We've known each other from before, and then we've been asked by the founder of Oasis Theatre Group and asked if we have a project to do together, because we're like actors and storytellers, but we work individually. And I think it was great to work with such a good actor like Alia.
I mean, for me, it goes without saying, Ahmad is a very well-established actor, and for me, it was such a privilege when Oasis Theatre approached me to say, "Would you like to work with Ahmad on a project?"
Kan Ya Makan, or Once Upon a Time, is a storytelling play. By fusing famous fables with the current events of the Arab world, Alia and Amar have created a beautiful tale to resonate within our times.
What we thought at the beginning, that let's do like classical storytelling, where all over the world you hold a mic and you tell a story. But here we thought with the responsible of the company, Oasis Group, we talked about that we should entertain people more, and loads of people, especially kids. It might be heavy for them just to listen to classical storytelling, but here we thought we will entertain them more by interacting with them. And then we brought the stories together and we made these transitions, and we thought, let's improvise.
Using the fables as their base and building upon topics such as the transformations and challenges of the Arab world, the play manages to resonate well with the modern audience, and not only gives you an entertaining evening, but leaves you with something to think about.
The stories have a ring of the current situation in the Arab world. A ring, I'm saying. It's that's all. Because I don't think that any work that is about the Arab world and doesn't in any way touch upon what's happening today is worthy of showing. We don't claim that what we're doing is at the level of what's happening in the Arab world, but we definitely felt that we cannot create a work that does not ring true and have a thread, a follow-through to what is currently going on in the Arab world.
Choosing a diverse content, the play manages to whisk you away into many different worlds. Worlds of kings and queens, servants and lovers, and friends and foes. An imaginative duo, Alia and Amar, take you on a journey of sadness, laughter, and everything in between.
Okay, so today I'm going to tell you the story of Britney Aisha Spears' wedding in Dubai.
I don't want any more stories from this book. Lovely. Get inspired. Make an effort.
I don't know. Did I tell you the story of the storyteller who wanted to slash her wrist with wooden cutlery?
Yes. Night 633.
The story of the three little sheep?
Yes, 3 types of houses.
Oh, I don't know. Hold on a minute. Did I tell you the story of Little Red Riding Headscarf?
Yes. It was on. What? The little what?
Little Red Riding Headscarf.
No, go ahead.
Alia Al-Zubi came to the UK from Lebanon through quite the intricate way. Her family passed by Iraq, Jordan, and Syria, fleeing the different conflicts before landing back in Lebanon some years back, and Alia herself arriving in London 6 years ago. She trained applied theatre at the Central School of Speech and Drama and has been both awarded for her storytelling and nominated for BAFTA Scotland Award for Best New Talent.
Storytelling is the most primitive form of communication that we humans have. It's theatre at its beginnings, in its fetal phase. What's beautiful about storytelling is that every one of us is a storyteller. Every single one of us comes home, explains why they're late, tells a story about that. Well, if they're late to a meeting, tells a story about, spent the money on all the clothes, didn't manage to get the food, whatever it is. We are storytellers by nature. So the beautiful thing about storytelling is the fact that it answers our most urgent existential questions. Who are we? Where do we get the courage to overcome obstacles? Where does that courage come from? It's an ongoing commentary on the state of the world. And what's beautiful about it is that the same stories have been passed on orally and in written form when we became literate societies. The same stories have been passed on for thousands and thousands of years. Their significance remains relevant even today. What happened was that I stumbled across the theatre while I was doing my MA in social anthropology, and before you knew it, I was doing theatre and my MA on the side. And that was a big calling for me. That was just a huge wake-up call that actually this is what I wanted to be doing. And so my work till today combines the idea of oral histories. My MA turned out to be on oral histories and intangible culture, and storytelling as an oral form of art is all about that. While the world is getting more and more globalized, we seem to stereotype each other more and more. We seem to like to put each other in these neat boxes. Especially Arabs are put into these neat boxes. I mean, I often get approached on the tube, on the underground, and people speak to me in Italian or Spanish. So this is what's lovely. It's just to show the diversity of Arab culture. Yes, we wear headscarves, and yes, we wear anything we fancy wearing. I'm going to go see Marcel Khalife, who's on at the Barbican, which I'm very excited about because I grew up with the songs of Marcel Khalife. And this time, it's songs that are dedicated to Mahmoud Darwish. So both of them are iconic figures in Arab culture, and it's a privilege to be going and seeing that. There are some wonderful things that are going on, and I'll catch what I can.
The Syrian actor, poet, and filmmaker Amar Ahmad has only been in the UK a couple of years, but he's already a household name in Syria, from where he graduated with an acting degree at the Higher Institute of Dramatic Arts in Damascus. He has worked with the likes of Tim Supple at the Edinburgh Fringe, and here in Kanya Makan, he is the renowned Hakawati, the famous Arab storyteller who brings ancient stories and myths to life. He chatted with us about storytelling, his work, and his challenges as an actor.
For me, because it's a challenge. People think that storytelling is easy. You just go and tell a story. But if we think about it, the meaning of storytelling is when you watch a mother telling her son or daughter a story to sleep. The two main elements mothers use to tell their children's stories is authenticity and love, engagement. Like sometimes mother can't do a wolf or an elephant. Like sometimes she does that like a butterfly. But we believe her, we trust that she is a butterfly because love and engaging and authenticity. And that's a challenge for an actor because when you do, there is, let's say, acting, stand-up comedy, and storytelling. in acting, even if you don't have partners on stage, the story you're telling, like you all the time you try to make it full of suspense, to make it interesting and exciting for audience. And sometimes if there are two actors on stage, they say, like let's say a scene saying, let's escape, someone is coming. The audience, they don't know who's coming, so they wait to see who's coming. In storytelling, you need to tell that there is someone, this and that, who is scary and he's coming, and now we should escape or run away. So in storytelling, the challenge is that you tell people about the characters, about your characters in your story, and you show them. Let's say some people, in some storytelling, they don't play the characters or make voices. So I think it's challenging for an actor, and it's entertaining. And sometimes we need this direct conclusion message to give people, which storytelling is the best way for this, I think. Because sometimes when you make a play, you leave questions for audience. They question everything and they put different answers. Like some plays till now people are studying it and trying to make their PhD based on them. In storytelling, no, you give the conclusion at the end. And you should take people to that point where when you tell them the conclusion, they know that this is it. We don't have anything to lose in life. That's what I believe in. So let's go into challenges all the time, adventures, nothing to lose, as long as you have love in your life. Always when you learning and just considering that people around us are minds, and we should be miners to dig deep inside, to see the jewels and treasure. So it's all about love, I think.
When she entered the court, the governor was overwhelmed by her beauty. So he commanded, Bedouin, divorce your wife. The poor man shuddered with disbelief. Divorce my wife? I will never divorce her. I'll never do that. At this, the governor ordered his servants to remove the Bedouin from the court and torture him until he couldn't take it anymore. Finally, the Bedouin gave in and whispered,
Yesterday I was in a concert, Rashid Taha, the crazy Rashid Taha, and the beautiful, gentle, brilliant Suad Masi. So I just enjoyed it. And yes, there are some events I should go and see, for sure.
Kanya Makan takes us on a wonderful journey for this evening, and we can't help but wonder, what is the actor's favorite story, and where is the journey leading them next?
I don't know what the plans are, but I'm working with him again.
Yeah.
It's been so much fun working with Ammar, and I think that's very important in the theatre, that you enjoy working together. And I'm so grateful for Oasis Theatre for bringing us together, because we really, this is someone who we have very similar standards and ideas of what makes a show the kind of show we'd like to be in. And it's not easy to meet people like that.
Wherever there is warmth, when there is warmth in the teamwork, absolutely something special and unique, special positively, is gonna happen. And sometimes it's like magic. So working with Naif and Wendy, who are controlling Oasis Theatre and talk to us to work on this project, I think together, all of us, we listened to each other and we made this happen. Although they were not on stage with us, but I think the warmth and the trust, that was the key of the thing. And I will work with Alia a lot in the future. In the teamwork, generosity is step back, listen, engage, appreciate the fact that you are enjoying having this time with someone in love. And this is what, I enjoyed working with Alia, and she gave me this feeling as an actress. She's amazing.
We are at St. Ethelburga's, a beautiful venue that once used to be a church but was bombed by the IRA. The bishop at the time did something extraordinary. He rebuilt the building and called it Center for Reconciliation and Peace. Since then, there are lots of arts and culture things happening here, and tonight we have come to see the band Karama.
Born in Morocco, Soufiane Saihi has known he wanted to be a musician at a very young age. He started singing with a choir when the family moved from the very small town he was born in, and first tried the violin, but shortly stopped as the violin was considered a part of popular music, connected to songs about drinking and other unacceptable behavior. So Soufiane went back to the drawing board and decided to go with oud, the Arabic ancestor to the modern-day guitar.
I remember when I was about 4 or 5 years old, I had this weird dream. I had a fever actually, and I had a cupboard in my room, and I kept seeing a guitarist with long hair jumping up and down inside the cupboard. And I went and told my mom about it, and she came and she said it's fine. She just closed the cupboard again, and I waited until she left, opened it again, and the guy was still there. So the next day I asked her to take me to a youth center, so I joined the choir, and that was my first experience with music in that little town in Tantan. I didn't have a formal training in music. I was very lucky to have found an oud teacher in that town where I lived. There was no conservatoire, and so basically my dad went to him and said, my son is interested in learning the oud. Can he take some lessons with you? And he said, yes, of course. It was a very interesting way of learning an instrument. I'll just sit next to him like we are now. He had a room next to his parents' house with a different entrance, with a separate door. So I'll come see him in that room. It was full of tapes. He'd recorded hundreds of tapes over time. He was just the kind of musician that would record original stuff. Inspired me a lot, but he never went on stage really. He never was a professional musician. A great oud player there. So I'll sit next to him, he'll tell me, listen, this maqam is called so and so. You play it like this, and I'll watch his hands and I'll listen, and then I'll pick up the oud and do the same thing for about half an hour, and then he would leave and leave me in the room, and they'd say, Soufiane, when you finish, just close the door and leave. He'll come back like 4 or 5 hours later, and I'll be still there doing the same thing. And so he saw that I really wanted to learn, and I've been having lessons with him for a year, once a week or once every fortnight, and that's where I learned really.
Soufiane moved to France to study and initially planned to move back to Morocco. While he was studying, he would play gigs at bars and festivals and join different bands, starting to fuse Arabic music with jazz, pop, rock, and other genres. He first became a full-time musician when coming to London, where he started off busking for the first time. Unknowing of the busking culture, his relatives and parents back home misunderstood his situation and were quite worried about him.
I think it was a shock to my mom when she saw that documentary on TV. It was very funny because I didn't tell them when it went live, and one of my aunts saw it. And the way she described it was very interesting. She told my mom that Soufiane became homeless. He lives now in with the homeless in London, and he doesn't have a home. And I saw him, pulling a trolley with all his stuff, talking about my amp and my instruments. And one day he's gonna be killed. It's very dangerous. So I had my mom calling me the next day. She didn't, bless her, she didn't watch the documentary. She was saying, "What's happening? What's happening to you, my son?" I had to reassure her that everything is fine and I have a home. But. Yeah, it's a great way to expose yourself, busking.
Sufyan says busking taught him music, and he uses it sometimes as a way of learning and developing. He has also said that he thinks busking is much harder than playing the big national stages.
First of all, there is no barrier between you and the public. People don't expect, to stop and listen to a gig, so you have to make them stop. You have to play something different. You have to grab their attention. If you are playing on a preset stage or gig, people come especially to listen to you, so it's much easier. And there's a distance between you and the public, so it's your stage, your space. There you have your space, but you never expect what can happen, especially on a Saturday night or a Friday night. People sometimes go crazy. You can throw things on you when they're drunk, teenagers, so you have to be on guard always.
The idea of forming a band has always rested inside Sufyan's mind, but it was awakened and realized first when the Arab Spring had its start in the Tunisian protests. He started on his album 1 Year in London with the help of fellow musicians, and one by one he found the rest of his band members, and so Karama was born. The word Karama means dignity, and for him, that is what the Arab Spring was about.
I was getting experience playing with different bands. I played with a Spanish band before and with a North African band. And as the Arab Spring started, that's where I started the band. I actually started it before, but the first protests in Tunisia happened when we were recording the first album. I started the band a bit differently from what other people would do. I recorded before I had a band, so I've chosen musicians, they came, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of them. We had about 10 musicians, 10 guest musicians to record the first album 1 Year in London. The name Karama means dignity in Arabic, and what happened in the Arab world was all about dignity to me personally. Maybe things took a different path from what I expected, but it was about dignity, and I've chosen the name Karama. The first member was Haruna, the clarinet player. I met her in 2011. I asked a friend of mine, great saxophonist. I told him I need a clarinet player. I think it will not sound nice with the oud, and he gave me Haruna's details, and I'm glad I met her. Crazy Japanese girl, amazing performer, very quick to learn things. Then Elizabeth, actually I played with Elizabeth in other projects before Karama, and then when I started the band I asked her to join. Amazing player. She's a master of Arabic percussion, although she was born in Venezuela, which is great. With Riyad, the bassist, we played in a different project. I called him to join this band, so we had a long friendship. Demi, great player, specialist in Spanish percussion, but also a great jazz drummer. I played with him in a different project before he joined Karama. And above all, we are friends, always have good vibes on stage, and that's very important for me personally.
The band works in a very democratic way, with each individual highly influencing the songs. The challenges that sometimes can arise is fusing the very different Arabic and European music, with the absence of certain harmonies, for example, posing a hinder. But with team effort and inspiration drawn from each other, Karama does an excellent job fusing these different arts into new music that speaks to all ears. Sufyan's future is, as many musicians, not completely known, but he keeps an open mind and will continue working on music in London and teaching. He is for now giving up being a full-time musician, but of course never giving up music. The challenges that he has faced and still faces in life, he gracefully boils down to what way you choose to look at difficulties. And from what I gather, he will always be on the bright side, continuing to rise with the hopes of spring.
So if you look at it from another perspective, struggles in life make you stronger. So if you use them in a positive way and keep creating in whatever field, music, arts, acting or painting, I am sure that through very difficult experiences in life, beautiful things come.
Back at the festival, I myself was playing an Arabic instrument, the tabla. Well, at least trying.
So I'm going to try to get this right. You guys are going to get to take part of the Young Artist of the Year Award in the Mosaic Rooms in Kensington. Wish me luck.
The Young Artist of the Year Award, or Yaya, is a biennial award organized by the A.M. Katan Foundation's Culture and Arts program in Ramallah in the West Bank. It's open to young Palestinian artists around the world, and this year the shortlisted and winning artists were welcomed to the Mosaic Rooms for an exhibition of their work. The first prize for this year went to multimedia artist Jumana Mana. She was awarded for her video installation A Sketch of Manners, which was inspired by an archival photograph taken in 1942 at the last known masquerade party in Palestine. The video recreates an unconventional joie de vivre kind of atmosphere of Palestinian urban life prior to 1948.
Germany dominates the war in Europe, from France to the center of Russia.
It also reflects on the history of photography, notions of modernity within the region, and the role of artifice and farce in society. The people in the film who were not professional actors truly transcend through the screen and give life in the eyes of the photographed faces. It's a pleasurable atmosphere, but you also get a sense of something lying underneath, a sort of calm before the storm. In Mirna Bamia's video installation, This Mind Land of Ours, the artist has extracted video footage from mobile phones, which captured individuals who dared to cross the border between Syria and the occupied Golan Heights on Nakba Remembrance Day in 2011. Nakba, or catastrophe in Arabic, refers to the expulsion and dispossession of over 700,000 Palestinians from their homeland in 1948. Bamia was awarded joint third prize for this piece, which reflects her artistic concerns with political landscapes, liminal spaces, and the construction of collective memory. She spoke to us about the meaning of land, the thought behind her erasing the actual land on her video footage, and also a bit about the Shubbak festival.
I took footage from where the Palestinian refugees on the border of Syria were trying to physically reclaim the right of return to Palestine, and they crossed a mineland between Syria and Golan Heights, and that's the snapshot from my video where I just take the route that they were taking, walking on minefields, and I abstracted the minefield and I left them walking on whiteness, and from there I built my whole statement for the video. This whole questions of belonging and identity and return and that are so tied to the concept of land, and it became like a burden in my mind, so I erased it to open it and to purify it, as I say in my statement.
Do you believe land is important for people and for their identity?
It is important, but it's not everything, and sometimes it really burdens you and make your movement slower and your mental horizon a bit tighter. And sometimes you need to open this up, especially with this whole complication of the political discourse. Sometimes it really narrows the way we people, but I believe that it should start from the land, but not the physical one, and it should broaden up to more concepts and more thoughts of how can we deal with this land. My dad was a painter. He's a doctor, but he was a painter before. So he loved art, and we are all working one way or another at the art field. So I studied psychology, but I was doing art even before that. But then after, and when I went to school, at that time there was no art school in the West Bank. I remember, like, when I was still studying psychology, I always followed the competition and see the artworks. So it holds like a special place in my heart, and I was happy that I was showing this year.
An inspiring exhibition and a pleasurable launch this beautiful day in Kensington. So many creative talents rightfully awarded, and we predict and hope for a flourishing future for these young talents. But what do they hope we bring with us from their work?
I'm hoping that the people who will see the work will be exposed to a new form of discourse towards the land, especially the new art generation of Palestinians is bringing to the field. It's less nostalgic and less patriotic and less attached, and I think that is important in those moments of history that we were witnessing in Palestine and in the Arab world. I think a new discourse should be presented and a new way of dealing with art and politics. I think they brought a wonderful selection of artists from the competition, and most of us didn't show in London before. So I think having people to know our names and to see our work and maybe follow us afterwards is good enough.
Next time on Arabesque. The controversial Algerian-born artist Adel Abdesmed gives us the exhibition La Vase Abominable. The British Film Institute celebrated the Arab women filmmakers this year, and we got an exclusive interview with Sleepless Nights filmmaker Eliane Raheb. And finally, young and Turkish up-and-coming artist Asli Erel showed us Letters and Arts of War at the Lahad Gallery, where we also got the chance to take a closer look at the gallery's own background story.